Hello there, guys and girls, and welcome back to episode 7 of Valhaven. So, thank you very much for tuning in again. Just to have a quick recap of where we left things last time out. So, we were over in the west here in Medeiros. Where we built our beautiful harbour area. So, the eagle-eyed among you will notice that I've now made this harbour live. So previously this one was turned off until we got everything settled. So now we've got both harbours live and running. We also built out Medeiros last time out. So yeah, I think this was quite a good look for the city. Added a new school in, some new sort of police and firehouse over here. So yeah, overall we were looking really good. So um, today I want to focus our attention back onto industry. So if we zoom right out here, again, the eagle-eyed among you will notice that we've now removed the distance fog that we were seeing previously. So it just helps with the visuals when making the videos. But yeah, so you'll notice that that's gone. But if we look at the town, we've got Musa Gardens over in the east. Musa Farms is probably as big as we want that to be, and we will build bigger farms and timber areas as we develop the city. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Got Havelka in the north with Havelka timber sitting off of it, and I think that town is looking really nice over there. And then we've got Medeiros over in the west with its harbour. So I think today industry is going to be the key thing. We want to work in this sort of southern area to get this industry tidied up and in a bit of a better condition. And then I just want to build out Medeiros into this space now. So make this kind of like the biggest town within this island. And yeah, it's going to just improve our population and get us where we need to be. So yeah, let's dive in, shall we? Okay, guys. So, as I said, I want to really concentrate on this vanilla sort of standardized industry that we get with the game. And as we've mentioned previously, we built this in over here just to be sort of very temporary. So we're now going to tidy this up. And what I'd like to do is move most of it over into this section because we've got a nice large section over here, but keep some over here as well. And what I'm envisaging is a small bridge kind of going between the two, because if we say have some assets over here that people need to get to when they're working over on this side, we don't want them to have to come off, get onto the 4-lane road, go round the roundabout, etc, etc. So we're just going to give them a nice little access bridge, and I think that will allow us to start bringing in some layers of height into the town as well. So yeah, we'll go with it. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but anyway, let's see what it looks like and we can go from there. So I want to start with that just so I've got a frame of what I'm looking at. So I'm going to come into the small industrial road because we are going with very much industrial vibes for this part of town. And on my lowest elevation step, I want to come up by, I think we will go to 4. So I could have left it on the highest elevation step, but I like working on the lowest one. And will that let me come into the middle? No, I think these tunnels are going to be an issue there. So let's come down one more just to give us a bit of breathing space. Come right up against the road with that pillar. I think it's still going to be a problem. Cool. So one more again. Is that one more? No. One more again. There we go. That's going to be perfect. So the distance to the middle will be 8 units or $620 pounds, or whatever you're working in. So we'll do the same on the other side. And what this will give us is through this entryway into the city, you've obviously got the tunnels going down into the highway that goes through the city or the towns here. But then you've got this nice little bridge. So we're just introducing those layers of height within our city. So let's bring this down over here. And because we've gone up by 12 steps, what I want to do is come down. I'm going to come down by 2 at the 8 unit mark, and then come back to the ground by 2 again on the 8 unit mark. And this should just give us a nice sort of staggered ramp going up, because otherwise you can end up with really harsh, steep hills here. So yeah, I think that's going to be a nice look. And then what we want to do is start building out this industry area. So I'm just going to quickly clear out some of these trees, just so we can get the space we want to work with. I think that's going to be good. And then I want to just bring this road all the way out. I think that's going to be a good spot to come in. And I'm going to break our electricity for just a second. Let's bring this back very slightly. And then I want to connect back into our 4-lane road from here. So that's going to be a nice connection there. Yeah, that is breaking our electricity. So let's just quickly reintroduce that so that we don't break our city. Cool. And then let's just figure out where we want things to sit. So I think I first want to move our inland water treatment plants over into this area. So I'm going to figure out where I want this. And I think I want this to kind of sit over on this side. So in order to make that look good or work, I just want to flatten out some more of this area. So if we use our landscaping tools, I don't really want to do this too much around the city because it can start to look really unnatural. But I think it's going to be a good look here. And then what I want to try to do is get a small road coming through under the bridge, and that is going to work quite nicely. Let's just bring that across for now. And then if I move this, I'm just going to pause quickly because this will break our game. That's probably a bit too much. So what was the distance to the bridge? Is it going to let me do that? Let's do it from here. It's about 12 units, so I'd say if we come up by 10 from the bridge, that's going to be a good look. So that's 6 units into there. So if we come here by 16 and then come across, I think that's going to be perfect. So let's bring you back over. Yep, that's perfect. So that's what I wanted. So as you kind of come down the bridge or go up the bridge, you've got this in here, and we can decorate this up later. But yeah, I think that's just going to be quite a nice little vibe for this area. So we obviously want to hook that in. So I'm just going to bring in a pipe over into that area for now. Cool. So that's a good start. And what I am going to want to do is bring in another one very soon. So our sewage treatment is starting to get to the point where we're going to need another. But I'm not going to do it just yet because I think we are in a good space right now. So just planning out where I want this, and I think I'm going to be quite happy to just bring a road up here. Yeah, I think that's going to be good, and then we can have our second one sort of sitting in this area, and then maybe a little pathway coming through, and a bit of decoration just to make that look less obvious. Cool. So now I want to start developing over this side. So I'm going to come off of my road guidelines, come down here by 11, and then bring this up and just connect that in. So we've got this nice little box in here. And then up against this piece of road, I just want to create a little frontage road if it will allow me to do so. It will. Perfect. So this is where we're going to build this sort of generic industry. And it's going to be a nice little spot for this to sit in. So let me just quickly dezone that. And then I want to be quite simple over here and just fill in that area. So I think everyone's going to be quite happy with that. Am I going to break anything over here? Nope, I think everyone's still quite happy. So I just want to make sure that we're not getting in any unnecessary assets that we don't like into this area. So I'm just going to allow that to grow in very quickly and see what we get. Yep, so I'm going to be quite happy with this. I think that's quite a nice look. I don't mind that as well. It's not too bad. Yep, that's not too bad as well. So we're going to make that historical. I don't want a duplicate of you. Thank you very much. Yep, you're going to be fine. So I really like these sort of smaller assets. Yep, that's fine. I know it's a duplicate of this one, but I think we're going to be okay with that. I want to delete you again. I don't want that to keep spawning. Are we going to get another duplicate? Nope, something different. So that's okay. Yeah, so that's sort of, what is it, a plastic factory it looks like. But yeah, so as you kind of come down the hill, you've got these, I think we're going to have to live with this. I think we'll just make it historical for now and see how that looks. But yeah, you kind of got this vibe of real sort of industry over here. So yeah, I think people are going to be quite happy with that. So I'm conscious we do have an electricity issue over here. If we look at our electricity, we're actually in a good spot, but we are going to need some soon. So For now, I'm just going to move this up just to plug everyone in. That should fix the issue. Yeah. But eventually we're going to build in some more electricity production into this area. So yeah, I think that's going to be good. Cool. So now let's focus on our recycling centers. So how does this fit in over here? I think we could probably get them back to back. So yeah, let's do that. So we're going to have these sort of coming into this area. And again, this is just quite a nice little look, sort of back-to-back vibe. So you've got a sort of real production industry going on over here. Cool. So I think we're going to be good with that for now. We will come back to this very shortly. Make sure we tidy this up completely. But yeah, I want to go slowly because I'm conscious of our budget as well. So let's now turn our attention back to Havelka Timber. So as we said earlier and as we said previously, I don't want our farm and timber in this part of the city to be too large. I want these to be sort of very small initial sort of landing area of the city, production areas. So we don't want to go too big with this, but we do need to bring some more stuff in just to satisfy production needs. So first off, I'm just going to quickly remove these trees here with our forest brush and then reintroduce just our sort of standard tree palette for Valhaven in here, just so we've got a decent tree to work with as we put these new items in. So what I want to do is just extend this out very slightly. So if we go 4 either side, and then when we unlocked level 3, we unlocked these medium tree plantations. So I want to get some of these into this part of the city, and I want to go 3 across. Now, the reason we came out is because we were just slightly overhanging this part of the road here. So yeah, I just kind of need to come out, give myself a bit of a buffer and a bit of breathing room. But I'm still going to maintain these 2 spaces either side, just so that we've got, is that going to be good? Let's come up from here. Yeah, just so we've got some detailing opportunity in this area. I want to bring some sort of very basic paths in, but just to detail this up because it looks very, very standard. But yeah, so we're going to stick with our conifers. So you've now got this kind of view of our smaller conifer production areas or extraction areas coming into our sawmills, and then these much larger extraction fields up at the back of the area. So yeah, I think everyone's going to be quite happy with that. And the other item that I want to bring in today is this forestry workers barracks. So you'll notice from the description here we get 35 workplaces with this, so it's a place for our workers to stay, but it also gives us that additional capacity for workers. So yeah, I really want to get this in, and I want this to kind of come in here where people are entering into the forestry area, and I think that's just going to look quite nice, sort of sitting up against this curved road here, and then facing out into these lovely sort of conifer trees, and the nice pathway that we put in over there. So yeah, I think that's a good place to start. And then obviously we are now producing quite a lot of goods through these extraction buildings. So and we're noticing that we're getting some not enough buyers for products because we're filling up really quickly. So I want to bring in an additional storage facility over here. So I want to bring in this large log yard, and I think that's going to fit in quite nicely here next to our workers' barracks, and facing directly opposite the extraction areas, so the plantations over here. And it just gives easy access for our trucks to drop their goods off and store them in this area. So yeah, again, quite a nice little addition over here. Cool. So what does that do to the actual production of the area? So we're now producing a decent amount of goods. You'll see we've already hit our resources required rate, which is fantastic. We now need to get 550 workers into the area, and we've now got capacity for 572. So yeah, so I think we're looking pretty good. We will fill this out today. I imagine we'll hit level 4 pretty quickly on this, and then just kind of fill out this area and a few bits over here. But we'll come back to Havelka Timber very, very shortly. So I want to turn back to Musa Farms. So again, this is probably as big as Musa Farms is going to get. The only thing I do want to do is bring in another field over here. And one of our lovely viewers did make a good comment in one of the videos where I placed these trees in, completely forgetting that if you do that, you destroy your fertile land area and you can't get it back. So we do have a tiny bit of fertile land here. So I'm going to try and utilize it as best we can. But yeah, it's not actually going to produce too much in comparison to the others. But I really want to do this because I just want to keep that sort of 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, where we've got the wheat, the corn, the wheat, the corn, and it just gives a nice vibe. So yeah, that's kind of as big as Musa Farms is going to get though. And what I want to do over here is just now connect this road in to the 4-lane road. And I want to come out a little bit, or do I? No. So let's come out by 6 here and do a 6 by 6 curve. And then we can settle this back into the road. Yeah, and I think that's quite a good look. We don't want to go too far with Moose Farms because, as I say, it is very much a small town farming area. So yeah, I think Moose Farms is looking good. We probably will add some bits and bobs over here just to enhance production. But as we get out into the wider city, we've got plenty of fertile land sort of here, there and everywhere. So probably over here actually I was eyeballing. We're going to have like a really large farm possibly in this space overlooking sort of this midtown vibe. Also got some really big space over here with fertile land. So we've got loads of options that we will use further on, but these are sort of very small town vibes. Cool. So before we come back into this industrial zone over here, I just want to now build out Medeiros. So Medeiros, we discussed previously, I was kind of going to stop here with Medeiros, but I'm now thinking I want to expand into this area. So I've also been thinking about transport networks, and eventually we discussed previously we're going to have a service interchange here coming off and hooking into this small island and then eventually coming down and creating a connection into Medeiros and our harbour, etc. What I'm also going to do as part of that build when we get to it in a couple of episodes, hopefully, is bring in our train line. So I want our train line to kind of follow this entryway in through here and then come up into this part of the land. And then where we discussed this sort of coastal road that's going to hook around here and connect back into Havelka in the north, I want to also bring in our train line. So we're going to have a nice coastal train line coming through here, and then eventually the train line will come across here into the north of Medeiros and then enter our town centre here. And I've got an asset in mind that I want to sit here, which is the train and bus hub. So that's going to kind of sit atop our town centre and look really good. So eventually the train will come through and service passengers entering and exiting the city. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very quick time lapse while I build out Medeiros, and then we will come back in a couple of minutes and discuss what's being done. So I will see you very shortly. Okay, guys and girls, so welcome back. So yeah, you would have seen we just built out our road frames here and started introducing more homes into this area. You'll also note I've added a bit of a sort of a walking structure, walking footways into this area. Just notice I need to tidy this one up. So yeah, let's bring you up there. And then that can come down like so. So this will just increase the walkability of the area, get people walking, not necessarily coming here, there and everywhere. So walkability is something we're going to concentrate on in one of the later episodes as well. But yeah, this is a good start. So yeah, I think that's good. So it's really sort of enhancing our residential. So I now just want to make sure these guys have got plenty of places to come and shop. But yeah, so Medeiros is looking pretty good now. So it's kind of the largest town on the island. So this is where the bulk of the people are going to come and live, and potentially work in the shops, etc. But yeah, so sort of really cool area to look at. So if we come back over to this industry area over here, we've now got plenty more citizens in our town. So we need to make sure they've got plenty of places to work, and that their sort of electricity demands are met, etc., etc. So I just want to bring in a tiny bit more of our vanilla industrial. So if we come back into our industry roads, I don't want to go too mad with this. So I just want to bring in some minor industrial workspace in here. And again, I think we're just going to fill this out for now. Yeah, that looks good. So this is going to slowly build out, but I'm noticing we've only got one connection in here, so I do want to create another little connection. So I'm thinking this central point here is probably a good place. Yeah, I'm just going to come all the way in. So it's kind of a nice additional entry point into the industrial area over here. Um, and what I want to do with this is actually create a little one way in, one way out system. So I'm thinking this is probably going to be a good way in. So people are going to have to come all the way through and then enter into this one. So if we just make a little one-way road in there, so that could be one way all the way through, and then this is going to be one way out. So this should just help the traffic in the area. So it's going to stop people sort of clogging this one up and clogging this one up. Everyone's going to be forced to come in, come through, do your business, go wherever you need to go, and then exit through this point here. So yeah, it's going to look really good. We're getting this sort of influx of people coming in here because we've got more residents moving in over in Medeiros, and also more assets growing into our industrial zone. So yeah, I think I'm quite happy with how this is looking. This will take a while to build up, so we're not really going to finish this in today's episode, but we're just getting the frames in right for the rest of the city. And as I say, we are going to continue to use this side, but I'm actually thinking over here later on having some of our helicopter depots, so like the fire helicopter depot, which we could definitely have used over here. I've just, oh my god, the town is on fire. Hopefully that stops spreading. But yeah, anyway, that would have helped that. So we clearly have no protection against this fire at the moment, so a nice fire helicopter depot would help over here. So, oh my word, look at this. The town is on fire. That will stop. I'm not too concerned, he says. Hopefully it stops. We'll come back to that, make sure no one's died. Yeah, so I think we're looking good. So the final thing I want to do today is start thinking about getting this tram line in, and move down into what will eventually be a nature reserve park in this area, and obviously our connector back into the highway. So I want to look at our tram depot. So the way I want this to work is eventually this will be a pedestrianised town centre. So I'm thinking I want this to be like a bus pedestrian road only, because it will eventually hook into our bus hub that's going to sit up here along with our trains. This is fine being sort of car roads, but I don't want this part here in particular to be drivable. So what I'm going to need to do is bring this tram road down, and then come through. I mean, I know I could use a pedestrian tram road, but I don't really want to do that. So it'll all make sense in a moment once we start building, and then bring it back into here and eventually connect into Medeiros. So I'm going to come into our transport tab here, and then grab our tram only track. So this is obviously the track that the cars cannot use. And I want to come down by 6 and then come all the way across here. So we're going to have this sort of frontage network, where our trams are going to go, that's opposite our town centre. And I think this is going to look really cool once we detail this up in future episodes with maybe some shops, and some like little parks along here. We could do some real sort of detail stuff, which is going to look really cool. And once we get the trams running through it as well, it's going to look really good having that separation. So yeah, I kind of want to stick with that for now, and then come back into our transport again. And I just want to create a little square over here. So if I do a 6 by 6 by 6 square, This will be a nice little turnaround point, and I'm also thinking of introducing a what do you call it, like an overpass, walkable overpass coming over here, just for a bit of detail, but also we can have a little tram stop in here, so people that are living in Musa Gardens can come across, um, get to this tram stop, and then eventually get over into Medeiros from there. So good news, while we were talking about that, the fire has stopped, but we now have this massive black mass over here, so that will disappear. We'll just completely ignore that for now, shall we? Anyway, City Skylines is fun, right, guys? So if we now finish off this, so I want to hook this back in up here. So I'm going to come onto my road guidelines, and grab the guideline for this and just hook him back into there. Now we need to upgrade this bit of road into um, a 2-lane road with tram tracks. So I'm going to use this one with the nice sort of green median area, and just upgrade this section of road so we can have trams running through it. And then this, rather than going round the roundabout, I want our trams to go straight through it. So I'm going to have a tram only road sort of cutting through the roundabout, and this is going to give us some nice detailing opportunities, which we'll get to later as well. And then obviously we've got the small 4-lane road here, so we now have a small 4-lane road with the tram track variant. So we're just going to upgrade this all the way down. So let's just plop that into Medeiros. And then this will also become a 4-lane road through here with trams, because I want the trams to eventually turn around here, which will also be the entrance point to the park. So again, I want to cut through the roundabout rather than going around it, so our tram line will come through here. Cool, so we've now got a piece missing. Let's upgrade you, my apologies. So we've now got a workable tram track. Now, as we said previously, this will also expand to go to wider parts of the city here, but for now we're just going to stick with a tram going back and forth between the town centre and Medeiros. So coming back into our tram tab, I want to just create a tram line. So let's figure out where we want to go. I'm going to create one here because eventually we'll have, as I say, this little detailed area of maybe some shops that people can walk to and from the town centre. I don't want one there, it's probably a bit too close. One outside of the elementary school, so we're not going to have many stops along here, we're just going to have a few. Or do I want two in? No, one there is fine. And then before we actually finish that, I want to think about our park entrance here. So I'm going to come back into this 2-lane road with tram tracks with the green median, and just create a little, I want a flat bit here. So if I come up by 6, I think, and then come up by 6 here, yeah, that's going to work for me. So I want this to, I'll tidy this road up, but I want our trams to come along here and turn around in this point. We will come back to this very shortly. And yeah, this will be the entrance point to our nature reserve that's going to come across these 2 little bits here. So yeah, and it also acts as that decent little turnaround point. So let's finish off our tram line before we get back to our forestry area. So if we come back into our line, quickly just reinvigorate that line here. So I want to stop on this side. Stop on this side, and then we're going to come back through. So we're just going to sort of mimic the stops that we have over on this side. One here, and then I want, as we discussed, a stop here in this little turnaround point, and then we can complete the line. So I'm just going to pause quickly because I want to first change the colour of this tram, and I'm thinking a nice green colour for this area. And because we're dealing with sort of an old town centre, I want quite an old look. So we're going to go with this 90 capacity model here, and we'll just watch this come out of the tram station, and you'll see the vibe I'm sort of looking for with this. So let's get a nice view. Let's get a view here. So you'll see these come out. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So we've got these nice sort of old school trams that are now going to circulate through the city, for now between here and Medeiros, but yeah, it's quite a nice vibe, right? So you get this nice look over into the town centre if we can get through the trees, and the trams are going to go back and forth and just start reducing some of that traffic because people are now going to be able to get into what is a busy town centre sports village area. So yeah, I think that's a good look. Cool. So let's come back to our forestry because we did unlock some additional assets while we were talking there. So if we come back into our forestry tab, so we unlocked the engineered wood plant, which I do want to use now. I believe we also just unlocked the wood chip storage, and there's some other stuff as well. We've got the larger tree sapling fields, which we're not going to use just now, but we will use this engineered wood plant because this is going to create the timber products from what we're extracting over here. So what I want to do is bring another little road down and almost create, we're not going to combine these roads, but we're going to come down to the same area. So we've got an additional frontage road in here, and I want to just hook back up into there, and then that can connect through there. So it gives us a bit of a detailing opportunity in this little square. I want to keep this bit clear for now because we're probably going to do something in there anyway. But with this bit of road, I just want to come through and grab our engineered wood plants, and I actually want two of these sort of in this area here. So I want to leave one tile space between the two, but I think these look quite cool. So they're just going to take the products that are extracted over here and just produce that plain timber. So yeah, it's just additional resource to get our money up and get some jobs. So we've got electricity issues. So let's come into our tab. We're now consuming 104 megawatts of electricity and we're only actually producing 95. So let's come back to our industry area, shall we? And think about where we want to put in some additional electricity. So if we come into our tab, we do have some new options now. We've got the oil power plant and we've also got the geothermal power plants, but we don't actually have the cash to build these in. So for now, I'm just going to bring in another coal power plant in here, and I think I'm just going to place this in here for now. So it's just going to be quick and dirty. This will obviously change. I know I keep saying that about vanilla industry, but it will once we get into more green production. But yeah, I think that's just going to service us for now. Is that hooked in? It is. Cool. And that's satisfied the electricity problems that we were having over there. Cool. So I think everyone is quite happy now. The last thing I want to do over here is just give the townsfolk of Medeiros a little access way into the 4-lane road up here, just to kind of ease the pressure on the lower part of town, especially now because we've got the trams coming in. So yeah, we'll do something in this space eventually, and this will probably change, but just for now, a nice easy access way so these people particularly have got a way in and out of Medeiros. Cool. So yeah, I think we've done a fair bit today. So we've burned down our entire Musa Farms area and all the trees around here. We're now getting more fires, so hopefully our fire department will sort that out very quickly. Here they come to save the day. Not good, guys. And we've built out Havelka timber a little bit more, so we don't want this to get too much bigger than this. I think we're going to be quite happy with this for now. And we've also added our trams and built out Medeiros to be quite a nice big functioning town now. So I think we're going to leave this episode there. I didn't really want to do too much than that anyway. So until the city burns down completely, I think I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse, and yeah, give me 2 minutes, we will be right back. Hey guys, so yeah, a little bit of detailing there, nothing too fancy, just wanted to get a little bit in. So let's have a quick recap of what we've done. So if we start over here in our town centre, so we've obviously got this tram stop here. So I've just added some nice purple bushes, sort of purple trees, sorry, and some pink bushes, flower bushes in here, just to give a different vibe to the rest of the tree palette that we've got, and it kind of matches the town centre vibe over here. So just trying to get those different palettes in, and then we introduced this small walkway that's going to connect the Musa Gardens area into the town centre. So yeah, it's already getting quite a lot of use, as you will see, particularly for people trying to get into, I assume, Medeiros using the trams. This is good. On this side where the town is absolutely burning to hell, um, this is very basic for now, so eventually we will tidy this up once we detail this area, but still, it's functional. People are using it, which is good. Probably to get away from the fires, to be honest with you, but anyway. Then over into Medeiros, where we've got these cut through tram tracks where the roundabouts are. We've just created some nice little nature reserve fencing vibes, and again used our purple tree and bush palette just to create a nice little vibe for our tram area. So yeah, quite proud of this one. I think that looks quite nice. I think everyone's going to be happy with that. And then we did the same over on this side. So same vibes, nothing too major. Oh, I actually used the wrong fence in this one. Let me just quickly correct that, guys. So yeah, same vibe over here. Just a nice little nature reserve fence, just giving an additional look and feel as the trams go through. So it's going to look really cool eventually once we get back over here into what is a true nature reserve. And then over here to the east of Medeiros, we just created this big park. So again, we had a nice big space here. I didn't really want to put more homes or shops in here, so I thought a nice park that also serves as a bit of walkability as well, so people can now sort of get to all the different areas of this part of town through this park. So yeah, pretty good. And then I think that was it. But then we came over to our forestry area, so Havelka timber. We did some minor detailing, so we put these pointless paths, but they just add a bit of detail to what is a very sort of tree orientated part of the map. And we added some more paths over here which look really good, and then we fenced off most of the area. So we brought this fence all the way across, and then we came all the way through this side, up and through and along what will eventually be the highway cut through. So again, this will continue. We need to close this off over here, but you can imagine once cars are actually using this, you've got this separation here now between the industrial zone and the road itself. So yeah, minimal detailing, but you know, I think we'll all agree they have expanded the area, and the fire has finally stopped. Our trees are growing back in, guys. You know, we're rocking and rolling. Sorry, one last thing I didn't mention. It's a bit pointless, but I just added these fences into this part of the industry area. Again, I just think they add a nice look to the industry vibe. So yeah, just minor fencing over here, but we'll continue to build this area out. We need to get our power sorted out into green power and get those over into this part of the city. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot. So I mean, look guys, we're at episode 7, and we've now got an island full of towns and industry and a town centre that is looking fantastic. So we've got Musa Gardens over in the east with Musa Farms hanging off of it. We've got Havelka up in the north with Havelka Timber, which is now producing a really decent amount of goods. And then we've got Medeiros over here in the west with the harbour area hanging off of it. And then, of course, our town centre with our sports village that sits within it. So yeah, look, I think this island is almost complete, and we're almost at a point now where we can move on to the next phase of our city. Final sort of touches here and there. So we do want to bring in this service point onto the highway. We want to create our our park over here, so our nature reserve is going to come in, and we want to bring in our ring road and our train lines, which are going to come into here, and then just sort of general detail. I also want to create another little nature reserve over in this point, very small, but just something so we're using that Stonehenge vibe over here. So yeah, I think we could probably kill most of that off in the next episode, to be honest. I definitely want to do the highway road entrance and exit, and then our nature reserve at the very least. But yeah, so I think we're in a good spot if we look at the town or the city from this view. So yeah, we'll leave it there, guys and girls. So as always, thank you very much for all of your support. It's genuinely fantastic to see the support we're getting on the city at the moment. Yeah, so please make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe so you're not missing any of the content. We're growing pretty fast now, so yeah, I want to make sure you're not missing anything. Yeah, so as always, I hope you have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, night, depending on where you are in the world. And thank you very much. I will catch you all on the next one.